Hey, welcome to the 3 Writing and Publishing Questions with Angela James. It is 3 o'clock here on the East Coast. It's Tuesday, January 17th, and I am back at my desk after a long 3-day weekend, which was delightful, and I really enjoyed myself. I also got fresh ink. I don't know if you can see it, but it's on my Instagram. So I'm kind of excited about the fresh ink. We have several questions today. I am going to start. I'm actually going to answer 4 questions today because one is very specific to somebody, and I wanted to make sure I slipped it in because it's a time sensitive question. So I am going to start with that. The first question for today is my one paperback is on Amazon, but for some reason, no one can buy it, including me. How do I get in touch with a rep at Amazon? Amazon does not necessarily make it super easy to get in touch with them, but if you go to your KDP dashboard, there is a contact us section. So you can use contact us. If that doesn't work, you can also try Twitter. I believe it's at Amazon KDP. Let me just check my notes. It is at Amazon KDP, yes. So go through your KDP dashboard first and then keep emailing and asking to speak to somebody if you're not getting a satisfactory response via email. But again, you can also try Twitter at Amazon KDP. Good luck. Congratulations on your paperback. I'm sorry that you're having issues with it, but hopefully you can get this all straightened out and you can get it up for sale. Okay, next question. Can you please talk about content warnings? Yes, I can talk about content warnings. I just had a conversation with an author about content warnings this past week, actually. And so, for those of you who don't know, content warnings are also known as trigger warnings, and you can call them content notes as well. And these are where you alert potential readers to potentially sensitive, triggering, or problematic content that may be in your books. So, for example, content warning may be you may be warning readers that there's talk of miscarriage or talk of sexual assault or abuse or child abuse or pregnancy. You may have talks of things that are also sensitive to readers, such as racism or homophobia. So topics that are going to be potentially hurtful to people who have either a background or something has happened to them, and it's just they need to avoid that topic. There, you can find a list of potential content warnings and trigger warnings on the internet just by Googling for content warnings. And the reason that we do these is again, so that readers can be forewarned. Some people look at them as spoilers. I do not look at them as spoilers. I look at them as kindness in the terms that you're being kind to the reader and letting them know that they may want to avoid something. And you don't need to give anything away by providing these content warnings. If you see a content warning for rape or sexual abuse as a spoiler, then that is perhaps a deeper issue that we would need to talk about, but it is really just a kindness so people can avoid reading those things on page that may be upsetting to them or cause them trauma or further harm. So I wouldn't look at them as spoilers. I just look at them as kindness, and it's easy to be kind with content warnings. In terms of where to put content warnings, you can put content warnings in your book blurb, you can put them in the front of your book, you can put them on your website. One thing that I suggest is not using the phrase content warnings or trigger warnings in your book description because Amazon in particular does look for that phrase and will hide your book from search results just because of the phrase content warnings or trigger warnings. So instead, use something like content notes, and then you can just direct readers to a specific page on your website, and you can do that again via the book description, or you can do it at the front of the book and say, there are content warnings for this book. If you need to read them or if you'd like to read them, please go to this page on my website. So it's really easy. It doesn't take a lot of effort, and it is a kindness to readers who appreciate content warnings. So that's just a quick overview of content warnings. Hopefully, that gives you an idea of whether or not you're going to use them um, and what they should consist of. Next question. If a publisher offers to sign my book, should I give a week or two notice to outstanding queried agents and publishers, or just notify them that I'm withdrawing? This is very much a personal choice. So if you have a publisher who has offered to sign your book, first of all, congratulations. That's a great thing. Um, and then you're going to just look at that offer and say, is this the offer that I was hoping for? So it may be that you are hoping for an offer from an agent because you would like to query publishers who don't take unagented work. Or perhaps you wanted to work with another publisher. In that case, then you would want to give them notice. Please give at least 2 weeks notice because it is very difficult for people to review material within a week because we're just so busy. People are so busy, and getting to review material within a week can be difficult. So give at least 2 weeks. The publisher that has offered you the contract should not be pressuring you to sign immediately. There should not be any issue with you. There should not be any issue with you taking time to think about the offer, to let other people know, and you can let the publisher know that it's out with other people and that you are giving them an opportunity to respond. There's nothing wrong with that. The other thing is that you may have a dream agent or a dream publisher, and having an offer on the table may get them to say, okay, well, let me take a look at this a little bit more quickly. On the other hand, I always caution people, don't make up an offer just to see if you can get a faster response, because the easiest response is no. And when editors and agents are under a time crunch, if they feel like they don't have enough time to look at it, then it's just going to be an automatic no. So don't try and use that to trick agents and publishers into looking at your work. The other thing is you can just withdraw. If you are very happy with the publisher's offer, if you would like to go ahead and work with them, then yes, you can just withdraw. Two things here. Please do withdraw your manuscript. I have seen posts from people who were like, oh, I just heard back from an agent or a publisher that I submitted my manuscript to a year ago, but I've already self-published it, or I've already published it with another publisher, or I've already signed with another agent. As a professional courtesy, it is wonderful for you to withdraw from everywhere that you have when the manuscript is no longer available, because that frees up the agent or publisher's time to look at other things and to do other things. So it's not really a gotcha moment when you do that. It's just it's not fair to the agent or the publisher that you're at this point essentially wasting their time. So please, as a professional courtesy, do withdraw. The other thing is, if you are going to go with a publisher directly and you're not going to use an agent, do make sure that you get the contract reviewed by somebody who's familiar with the publishing contract, because publisher contracts are built to be in favor of publishers, and you need somebody to be looking out for your best interests, who understands clauses, who understands hidden clauses, who understands clause wording, and can make sure that you're not um, signing anything that you're going to regret, that's going to take your rights in perpetuity, that's going to sign away rights that you don't want to sign away. So even if you don't go with an agent, then please do get somebody to review your contract. Okay, that is it for that question. Last question. In your opinion, how strictly should writers stick to the writing rules? Touched on one of my favorite things, and that is talking about writing rules, which I do not believe in. If you have ever been in any of my courses, whether it's Before You Hit Send, my writing and editing course, or my courses on pacing or deep point of view, or any other courses that I have held about writing, or anytime I've talked about writing, you will hear me say, there is no such thing as writing rules. You writing rules are have been created by people with good intentions who want to help new writers build their craft, build their writing craft. But writing rules can be very detrimental to a writer's voice. They can homogenize a voice. They cannot account for differences in background and different ways of writing. So I don't believe in writing rules. I think that they are good suggestions, and there's, like grains of good things in writing rules that you can take away. But at the end of the day, you should never rigorously or strictly apply writing rules to your writing, because you run the risk of stripping the voice out of your piece of work. And often writing rules default to very subjective but easily implemented things, because it bypasses the idea of the harder to look at writing things such as plot and pacing and characterization and all of those things that are not, um, they're a little bit more nebulous. They're harder to put your finger on and harder to explain how to do and harder to learn how to do. And so people tend to focus on the writing rules, which often focus on the line editing and grammar portion of things, rather than diving into story development and plot development. So the writing rules can be helpful, but they shouldn't be strictly applied. If they don't apply to your voice, that's okay. Don't get too deep into applying every writing rule to your manuscript. And do make sure that you're not using writing rules in place of looking at those bigger picture issues like story, characterization, plot, relationship development, world building, and all of those difficult things to build out. Okay, those are the questions today. I answered four because one was a little bit more time sensitive, and I wanted to make sure that I got to it. We will be having the next 3 at 3 in 2 weeks, so make sure you get your questions in, and we will be starting candid cold reads soon on 3 at 3 as soon as we can get our agreements in place, because we want to make sure that we are protecting your intellectual property and being respectful of it. So if you have any questions, do email us. It's at support@angelajames.co. You can also look on my website. I do have a chat area there if you want to ask questions via that. And if we're not online, then it goes to our email. And I look forward to your questions for the next 3 at 3 in 2 weeks. In the meantime, have a wonderful rest of your January, and I will see you next time.